Welcome to Super Woo Radio, where we are awakening into being free and sovereign. It's a place where minds hurt and hearts sing as we break through the barriers that have been holding us back. Be prepared to have belief systems confronted as we take the journey of the truth seeker for answers to life's biggest questions. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction, so come along for an awareness-expanding experience with George and his amazing guest. Here on Super Woo Radio.
Hello and welcome, magnificent Earth humans and all you other wonderful beings throughout the universe, listening to our multi-dimensional broadcast here on Super Woo Radio, episode number 24. Today we have Laura Lee Mistycah. Laura Lee Mistycah, aka Witchy Woman, is a holistic health practitioner, empathic psychic, lecturer, researcher, ghostbuster and author-publisher of 3 books and many websites. She is the steward of the Knights of the Mystic House and teaches Knights training courses. Laura Lee is also a solitary practitioner in Wicca, as well as other magical and spiritual practices, but has recently morphed into more of a futuristic sorceress in her efforts to outwit the Dark Lords who hijack this planet. She collaborates with Ormorosite, Auroralite, the magical mystical stone of truth and justice, as an ally to protect and assist her and her clients in managing the seen and unseen worlds. Laura Lee is also a support system for first wave indigos who walked into bodies and are here on a service mission to help clear the corruption and bring all life forms back into balance. So sit back and enjoy this fun-filled discussion with Laura Lee Mistycah. Laura Lee, welcome back to Super Woo Radio.
I am so excited to be here. Our last one was way too long ago. I just miss you, George. I just really miss you, and I love doing shows with you more than anybody else I ever do shows with. You're my favoritist, okay?
Oh, well, that's very sweet of you to say that.
It's true, because I can be as weird as I actually am on your show, and I don't have to hold back, and it's really, really nice to be this weird.
Yeah, we all get called crazy, don't we? But I reckon we're good crazy.
Yes, I love it, and so I'm just so happy to be back on your show, and we've got some really hot topics, don't we?
We do. We've got some very important and powerful topics to discuss, and that's one of the reasons I asked you back on. It's great. There's a bit of a renaissance happening. I've had Emma back on recently, and I've got you back on as well now, and I'm just really thrilled that Super Woo Radio has been going for nearly 2 years now, and I just can't believe how quickly the time has gone. So I kind of thought back over the guests that I've had on and felt like, it's about time we had some of my guests back on for a return visit, because it's interesting to see how we were back then and how we are now. I know I've gone through profound changes over that time, and I feel that you have as well. I think we all have, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, this last year was one heck of a year, wasn't it?
It sure was. It sure
On
was.
so many levels.
And you've been really, really busy, and you've got a new book out called Cryogenics.
Yes.
And can you tell us a bit about it? Because in all honesty, this has been a work in progress for what? About a decade, really. This one's kind of been the one you've been working on behind the scenes over a period of time. Yeah.
This book came out in 1999, actually. It's been sold out for many, many, many years, waiting for a second edition. Originally, it was an author's manuscript, and so it was a little bit pricey. It was $35, I think. And as time went on, I thought, oh, this book is kind of lame, and I would go open it up and look at it. I'm going, no, this has got some really important stuff in it. So my spirit guide, Hal, which for those of you who don't know who Hal is, I explain him in this book really in detail, but he helped me write it, and that's why it's kind of kind of crazy and funny, and we have any rules of English protocol, they just went right out the window in this book. I mean, you won't find any hard and fast English rules in this book. We've made up words, and it's just really fun. So anyway, he helped me rewrite it and put some really pertinent, up to the moment, really up to the moment things. There was things that went in this book that were put in like the day before it went to press, and it just came off the press like on the 10th of January, so it's pretty darn new.
Wow, that's amazing. And I have the incredible privilege and honor of having a copy right here in front of me. I want to really
good.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate you sending me a copy. And there's a few areas or things that we need to clarify first up. And this is because there's a bit of confusion out there with people looking at your information and looking at my information. And some people have actually accused you of plagiarizing my work. And there's, They have, haven't they? And
I know, it's pretty funny.
And there's some people that have accused me of plagiarizing your work. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute here, because I know I didn't, and you know you didn't. And if the truth is the truth, then aren't we just all going to start coming to that realization on our own accord?
Well, that is exactly, that's why I was so thrilled to read your book. And I purposely didn't read it until after my book was out to make sure that there would be not even the same wordage.
Yeah.
So what this tells me is that we are on the same level. We're picking up the same information that, to me, this information was snuck in and kind of went under the radar, because the stuff that we talk about is not mainstream at all.
No.
Both in your book and in my book. Nobody talks about this stuff. Nobody talks about the chakras and the Kundalini and we are all the same, fact or fiction, and there's just some, and the AI, the artificial intelligence. I don't know of anybody else that's talking about that. And I was so thrilled when I read your book, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, let me just clarify that statement you made. There's lots of people talking about them, but not in the way and the fashion that we are.
Exactly. Sorry about that. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah. Not giving the real scoop on what these things are about and how they're being used to manipulate us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was so thrilled to read your book and see how you were coming from a kind of a different angle, and sometimes we use different words.
Of course. No, we have different ideas about things. There's no doubt about that, because I've got my unique journey in the universe. You've got yours. So we're not going to be identical in everything that we say. That's just not real, you know. But the general, the basic ethos of our message is identical.
Exactly, because we're calling BS on the powers that be and how they're doing it. And we're which I think is great, the way you like you say, you've had your journey and you see it from your angle, I see it from my angle, but we're both calling them on their lies and their propaganda.
Yeah.
Coming from two separate angles, which I think is phenomenal, that we're both seeing them for what they are, coming from two different points of, well, it's not even a different point of view, just a different angle. And I thought when the words that I use are kind of like spy terminology or something. And so that's why, we're saying the same thing. I just come from a more spy background or something. It's like spy versus spy,
Yeah.
So that, to me, I was looking at that and I thought, okay, what's the basic difference? And Hal said, well, you kind of use spy language and he doesn't. So I thought that was good. That's
very funny. That's way funny. And that's what I love about your book too. You really got a lot of humor in your book. Mine was very serious all the way through. I think I only had one joke that I cracked in there, or maybe two.
Oh, your joke was really good about chocolate?
Yeah.
Is that I caught right up on that one. I laughed really hard on that one.
And the fact that some people might need a stiff drink when they read the book, So I managed to sneak a couple out there, but most of my book was just so absolutely serious straight down the line. But I love the way you've gone about it, because there's so much humor in it. And I'm just going to read a paragraph from it, because I've often said this as well in regards to, how big and important Earth is and what's going on, and how beings out there see what's happening here on the planet. So here's the paragraph. I can see it all now. Front row seats are a hot item this season in all the cosmic ticket outlets to view and bet on the outrageous events and conclusion of this Earth game. The cosmic bookies, refreshment stand operators, and of course, T-shirt and future memorabilia vendors are all there cashing in on the last episodes to the live drama of the great planet Earth transition. Beings from the farthest corners of space are taking off work or calling in sick so they can come and witness firsthand these earth-shaking events. The stakes are high, anxiety even higher, and Planet Hollywood is there vying for exclusive movie rights. This is sure to be a classic, legendary blockbuster. I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I think Hal wrote that. I go back on this book and I'm like, that is really funny. I don't know how I came up with that. And Hal said you didn't.
Oh, come on. He's got to give you some credit somewhere. It's not all him.
Sometimes he does. Well, it's good because then I can blame him if there's something that's it's like, well, I didn't write that. Go talk to Hal about it.
Yeah. Oh. No, you own it all. That's it. Bad luck. No getting out of that one.
Yeah, well, thanks for reading that. That when you first said I'm going to read something from a book, I thought, oh, I wonder what it is. And when you started reading that, I just about cracked up. That's really funny.
Yeah. So I guess where I'd like to start too is, can you explain to us the meaning of the word cryogenics? You do go into it in your book. And I'm not a bookie. I don't read books. I've only been scanning through your book, unfortunately. I didn't sit down and actually read the thing proper because I just don't read books. But and I do apologize for that. I do. It's one of my shortcomings in life. But I do need to say that what I've scanned through so far is really quite amazing. And if you can, and you do explain in your book what the meaning is, but if you could explain to the listeners what cryogenics actually means.
Okay, well, the back of the book, I think, really, or the back cover, really explains it well. if you turn to back cover, you can see the pictures, and cryogenetics is the encompassment of light and color, sound and tone, geometry, math, and love and compassion. Mm-hmm. And when you put all of those together, you can create phenomenal things and healing. Now, when I first wrote this book, I was all into, it's like I knew that there was ways to bypass the systems that we currently have to cause instantaneous healing. I just didn't believe in all the BS around, that's a terminal illness. I'm like, says who? Come on, really? And so that was kind of the angle I came in the beginning of the book, is to help people understand that any kind of healing, whether it's physical healing or emotional healing or healing of the planet or healing of the animals or healing of our consciousness grid, we have the power to do it, and we do through these modalities: light, sound, geometry, math, love, and compassion. You put them all together and you can create a healing package. And so this book was designed so that people can take these elements and weave them together their own way and create different modalities for healing and healing themselves too. And so that's what the cryo part means. Now, the genetics means the information and the codes in your DNA and in your genetics. So you can use cryo to heal the genetics. And that's what cryogenetics means. Now, people read the cover, and they think, it must have something to do with freezing things. Well, no, it probably has more to do with thawing them out. So that, in a nutshell, is, if you read the book, it will give you ideas. I feel like everybody that reads the book, there's keys and codes in this book, and this is what Hal says in the very beginning and keeps saying all the way through it. There's keys and codes in the book for certain people, and when they read it, they're going to go, oh, I get it. And somebody else will read that same thing and go, I get what? That doesn't mean anything to me. But for certain people that are on this planet at this time, there's things in this book that will help them do what they came here to do. And that's what this book is all about. And I'm really, really excited about it. It's like I like to just hold the book and hold it to hold it to my chest and just love it, because there's so much amazing energies in the book, and you just have to read it to understand what I'm talking about. I know this might come across as like arrogant or something, but I totally don't mean it that way, because, like I say, I didn't really write it.
Yes,
I wrote some of it.
No, you wrote it. So you had your buddy Hal that helped you, but come on, you wrote it.
But the picture on the front, the cryogenetics egg, this egg is just an amazing life form. And I found out later, after I drew the egg a long, long time ago, and I thought I was just doodling. Now, this story is in the book, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I just kept going back to this picture, and I kept perfecting it and changing it and doing different things to it. And I had no idea that I was like channeling this life form called the cryogenetics egg. And later I find out, after I came in contact with the Almorasite rock, that the egg is actually the spiritual aspect of the rock. And I'm like, holy cow, that's pretty cool. I had no idea.
So when it comes to the Almorasite, I'm sorry to interject there, because a lot of people might be actually confused that within the mineral kingdom, in every kingdom, tree kingdom, in the plant kingdoms, and even within subspecies of trees, with each each and every group soul, there tends to be a, for want of a better term, hierarchy. And without the way we understand hierarchy on the planet, it's kind of like you have your wise elders, and they're very well respected because they've been around for a lot longer within that life form than other entities and beings have. So other spirits have. So when it comes to the mineral kingdom, that rock that you speak of, or aurora, what is it again?
It's almoricite, and then the dust that comes off of it we call aurora light.
Yeah, so almoricite is one of the elders within the mineral kingdom, and that's why it's so highly regarded. It's a very loving being. And
that's very well put, yeah.
Yeah, and once we understand that about the mineral kingdom, and we understand about all the kingdoms, then we begin to realize how there are some species of some animals and plants and minerals and what have you that we have a far more loving relationship than others, because there's different expressions going on within each of these kingdoms. So I just wanted to clarify, because the way the New Age community portrays crystals and rocks and things like that, there's not really that much understanding in that way about these different kingdoms.
No, that's very good, and thanks for bringing that up. This almoricite rock is not from this planet. It's from back home. For me, back home is a place called the ultraviolet realm outside of this hologram. And this rock got snuck in here and was just dormant for hundreds and thousands of years, and nobody really knew it was here. And then just in the last 2 decades was excavated. And it's, as far as I know, there's only one repository of it. And I have a supply here. I got a bunch of it in my basement in boxes. But my supplier, I don't know where he is. I don't think he's still alive, because he was on a lot of, he was a funny kind of guy. He said, I'm not going to leave this planet till I take a few of those horrible, he was talking about the PTBs, out in body bags. And I'm like, okay, well, and he was he's really funny. He was a former Green Beret. And so he was really military minded, right?
Yeah.
So when I got the rocks from him, it was just some very strange things were happening at that time, and I haven't heard from him for 5 years, and I kind of don't think he's around anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know I got some, and I have a pretty decent supply. So if whoever needs them, I think will get them, and then maybe after they're gone, maybe everybody that needs them will already have them. But I think it's amazing. If you look, there's a chapter in this book about aurora light and almoricite, and if you look at the places, the cities and towns and different places that have been gridded, we have what I call cosmic cleanup crew members and first wave indigos, so out there putting grids up everywhere, all over the world. And if you look at these places that have been gridded and when they were gridded, and then you go back into some of the news casts after that and see the corruption that came to light after that, it's just phenomenal. I mean, it just makes me laugh. And more and more all the time. And now that we've got the 3 major power places gridded, we've got the Vatican, we've got the Vatican. The Vatican is the spiritual power place that runs all the spiritual propaganda, and then there's the this is so weird, and I knew this was going to happen.
Are you blanking out?
Yes, yes, and it must be because it's so important. I'm just it's like I can see what I'm trying to say. And I'm kind of glad that this happened. I thought, oh man, what if that happens while I'm on the show? Actually, I'm glad it happened because I think other people, this happens to them when you get to a really important something.
Oh yeah.
It's like somebody just pulls out the plug in your memory banks.
It's in the frontal lobe. They're affecting the frontal lobe. It's I've had that happen for years in my life, and it's taken me a while. I'm getting over it now. I tell you, I'm having a supplement which is helping me to lose weight, but it's also very good brain food, and it's called acetyl L-carnitine, and that is really helping me a lot.
That.
Have you?
Yes.
It works good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, till today. Actually, I ran out today, okay? So
That's funny. Oh, too funny.
Okay, so let's see if I can get back
yeah,
to
well,
this.
the Vatican,
Okay.
I'll talk a bit, so that might help
Okay, so
get the juices flowing in your mind as well. So
So we
the
so we got the Vatican.
yeah, the
and then
Vatican
we've
also
got-
runs the corporate. It runs the corporate thing, but it does it through stealth. So like the corporate side, the head of operations is in different places around the world. So the ones in the public domain that we know of are in the centre of London town, and then you've got
Right.
places in the
That
States.
was the word I couldn't. That's the word. Now my voice is going out.
Oh, this is great.
That's the word. Excuse me. Oh, this is crazy. Hold on, let me get some water.
There you go. Bit of energy in action. Right on
So-
cue.
Right. So the city of London
Yeah.
and Washington, D.C., those are the three main power centers.
Mhm.
Now, how that just slipped out of my head, I don't know. But I'm glad that we
you'd
worked
never-
around it and it came back.
You think you'd never forget something like that, wouldn't you?
Well, I know. I mean, it's like, duh. So, I have to tell you something too. This started happening, I call it like thought pluckers, was happening really bad when I was doing the last stages of the book. And both my husband and one of the ladies that was working on the book with me, and this story is in the book, kind of got together and they thought I was coming down with Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Now, this is kind of pretty creepy to me because my mother died of Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And she started getting it when she was 53. Now I'm 58.
Mhm.
She died at 63 in a rest home, but by the time she was my age, she was in a rest home.
Yeah.
So the energies that work on me know that that's kind of a sore spot.
Mhm.
I know why my mother had Alzheimer's, and it was because of being extremely abused when she was growing up. I mean, her dad was such a sleazoid, even the animals on the farm were in jeopardy, okay?
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
he was that much of a sleazebag. So I know why she did, and that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, because I had another girlfriend that had the same symptoms, and her, I helped her clear some of the traumas in her past, and her brain came back and started working again. And she got so bad that she stayed in her house and closed the curtains. She said, I'm afraid to go anywhere because I'm afraid I won't be able to come back. And so it was the same thing. So when I wrote this book, that was kind of what was in my heart, is to help people understand, hey, these are temporary things. You just have to find out what the cause is, and then you can create a solution and get over it. So when I started, when the people around me were starting to say, oh, she's kind of losing it, I was really ticked off, not at them, but at the energies that were projecting that on me, because I could feel it. Especially that last month that I was trying to get the book out, I could feel it. And so I went back to them and I said, guys, I understand what you're saying, but you need to look at where this energy is coming from. I said, it's not coming from within me. It's not me. There's something projecting that on me. It's like this overlay.
Yeah.
And if you will help me clear this and say, no, it's not there anymore, that is going to help me more than anything. And so they both did, and I'm fine.
You know, I can completely back that up. I mean, when Cynthia and I were working on the book, and I would be, verbalizing to her, and Cynthia types a lot faster than me. I'm a one-finger typist, and Cynthia knows how to type properly. So it was a real big saving for me just to verbalize, and Cynthia was typing. And she would be falling asleep, her head slumped over the keyboard. She was knocked out, zonked. She couldn't hit the keys properly. And this was a regular thing. I would sit down and go to work on the book, and I would just zombie out like you wouldn't believe. And it was a really hard slog because it's like we were doped or drugged.
Yeah.
It was a really disgusting feeling. You know, you couldn't think straight, couldn't string two words together. And that was a regular occurrence. It was a very, very arduous process to put that book out. So this is how they attack us. It's a really sinister and disgusting way.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you had some similar things. I did that too. You sit down to work on the book, and it's like somebody slipped you a drug, and you just fade, and you slap yourself in the face, and you take breaths, and it's really hard to pull out of it. I had to keep actually using the concepts in the book to clear myself so I could finish writing the book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, it's really nice. I'm glad that you said that, too, because sometimes people don't realize when you write this kind of cutting-edge book like yours and mine, how much opposition energetically you have to it. Once my book came off the press, I was, like, elated. I'm like, okay, you powers that be, it's off the press now. You can't do anything about it now. And
You can be honest. Okay, you assholes.
Hal calls them ass souls.
Ass souls. Oh, that's funny.
They're ass souls. He said, and I think this is in the book too, he said, you really do have a pretty bad problem with ass souls down there. I was kind of upset that I didn't think of it first. I thought, well, that's such a no-brainer. Ass souls.
Yeah, that's very clever.
Oh, yeah. So we're glad we've got Hal around. So anyway, yeah, because these books, these cutting-edge books really, if we were to write a recipe book or something, I don't think we'd have nearly the problems that we did with your and my books. What do you think?
Oh, we would have had them out a long time ago, and I think they would have been quite. They would have been different. Mine would have been different. That's why mine had such a serious tone, because I was at war the whole time trying to write the freaking thing. It was ridiculous. Anyway, it's a different story with the course. It's because I've grown up now a whole lot more too, so I'm not really playing that game like I used to either, and that makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah. You get real savvy, don't you, in your old age?
Yeah.
After you've been through a few wars, it's like, okay, I know how to do this.
Yeah, well, hey, being aged and wise, it's got to have its advantages, hasn't it? Like, come on.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I think we should get better as we get older. And that's what it talks about in genetics. It's like getting older, we should be stronger. Mm-hmm. We know we're wiser. Well, we should be wiser. But we should be stronger and have more vitality than we did at 20.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, because
that's my premise. And I'm sticking to it, I tell you.
Yeah, good on you, Laura Lee, because I said that this morning. This morning when I was walking with Cynthia, we like to go for walks in the morning. And I tell you what, I was walking along and I said to Cynthia, we think back over the last 20 years of our lives, because we're both around 50. And I said, I was about 30-ish and I was pretty good physically. And I thought, wow, a lot of people get to our age and you could see in the community and friends and family, they start winding down. They start setting their life up to cater for their progression into an elderly age. And I'm like, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm only, I've gotten to the point in time in my life where I'm just getting to the point of wisdom and experience where I'm armed with so much of it. I'm just getting started. So I've got more exercises happening than what I used to, like physically. I'm looking after my body better. I'm eating healthier, and I'm only just getting going. Truly.
Good for you. Excellent. I'm so glad you said that because I feel the same way, and I have never even talked about or even had it run through my head the word retirement. It's
Yeah.
like that's not even an option for me. I don't even. It's like that's somebody else can do that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not retiring. I'm going to thrive. I'm going to live and thrive, and and like I said, I'm only just getting going. I'm just getting started. This is the next 20 years of my life are just going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. And just so you know, 60 is the new 40.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm pushing 60, so
Well, you wouldn't think
just
so,
so you
really.
know, it's the new 40.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we did go off on a big tangent, but I would love to bring it back to this egg because when you look at the egg, it's it has a very feminine look about it, shall I say, because it's really quite sensuous and it has a very, it's got definitely the womb theme there as well, hasn't it?
You know what? I didn't realize that until like 3 years after the book had been out, and somebody said, "Oh, that's a yoni," and I said, "What? It is?"
I was waiting for you to say it.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it is!"
It is, isn't it?
No, it is, and I had no clue, and yeah, it is extremely feminine. It's like this is the feminine aspect of the rock. I told you that this was like the spiritual aspect, but it really is a feminine aspect.
But then you've got the masculine of the helix in there as well.
That's true too.
And the point of the helix, it's a double meaning there. It's fantastic.
That is really true. And while we're on the topic of this helix, I want everybody to know that it's not just two strands. When I wrote this, the strands it could be 50 strands, and they're just all really tightly woven together, kind of like fiber optics. And just so you know, it's not just two strands, okay? Because we need more than two strands. We need like thousands of strands.
Yeah.
We need to get our authentic selves back. And so, yeah, so it really does have the geometry in here. I didn't have a clue what this thing could do. And I can't remember if I've talked about this before, but we contain ghosts when we do ghost busting in these eggs, and they can't get out. You should see the absolute disbelief in some of these really nasty ghosts that have been raising hell all over the place. And I'll put them in one of these eggs, and they'll pound on the shell, and they're like, "I cannot believe that something could contain me." And the first time I did that, it was just kind of a fluke. We had this nasty ghost, and I just thought, well, I'll just put him in an egg, see what that does, and it contained him. And that story, I can't remember if it's in this one or not. I think it is. I think it's in this book. So anyway, you'll just have to read that story. It's really funny, but you can do all sorts of things with these eggs, and I use them as protective protocols. And recently, now this is really interesting because it was after the book came out, or I would have put it in there. We had all of these reverser energies on us, like somebody, like if you wanted white, you'd get black. If you want,
it's like if I have a cup of coffee, I go to sleep.
Yes, exactly. And anything you do got reversed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on? We've got our eggs on, and Ronnie, my Ghostbuster partner, was working with me on this stuff, and she said, we've been working on these reversers, and what I did is I had my egg on around me, and she said another one just formed itself over that egg, only it was upside down. And I said, awesome, it's reversing the reversers.
Wow.
And so for those of you who are listening now, look at this picture and you'll understand exactly what that is. So I started putting them around my house, one right side up and then one over that upside down, and I put them around all of my chickens and my ducks and around their cages, and it really made a difference. I haven't felt the reversers on me like I did before. So, and another thing with these eggs. They are a protective protocol, and if something gets through the egg, or if you set up a grid with a morrisite rock, if something gets through there, it's because it let it in so that you could understand something, so that you could get some education. But what it will do, you don't need all the riffraff that's coming at you for an education. It's like it lets it in one at a time so you can deal with it and understand it and go to the next level. So just so you know, if every once in a while, my eggs and my rocks let stuff in. Not once in a while, like at least once a day. I got to be real here.
Yeah. Well, they can't. Those eggs can't override what's required by the soul to have its experience here. I mean, really.
They work with your higher self. It's like, okay, let this one in. They need this experience. It's like, okay, but clearing all the other riffraff out. We don't need to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Because you can get dogpiled on so bad that it immobilizes you.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening a lot in, I don't know, I think you were having challenges too in November and December. Mm-hmm. Those were hell months for a lot of people, and everybody felt like they were getting dogpiled on and wanting to give up and go home.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you just throw in the towel and say, okay, I'm done. I give up. I'm out of here. And many people, I had a lot of people write to me, and they were just ready to throw in the towel. And I said, don't throw in the towel yet. I've almost got the book out, and then you can read it, and then you won't want to throw it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait that little bit longer.
Wait a few more weeks. Don't throw in the towel yet. Well, and actually, I've had people come back and said, oh, thank you. It really did help. So, because I even have in here, there's a instruction sheet on what to do if you're under psychic attack, because a lot of times it messes with your head and you don't even know what to do. It's like when you go to sleep, you have no conscious logic. It's like logic goes out the window. And it talks in here about how I had this hanging up by my mirror so I could see it every day, and if I was under such mind-fogged psychic attack, I knew enough to go to my mirror and look at that list of things to do. Mm. So that's in there, and it's really helpful. And I used these concepts while I was writing the book to get it out, because it was so challenging. But it's out now, and it's exciting, and your book's out, and yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify a point too for the listeners, because a lot of people think that I was the pioneer in having a negative connotation on the chakras, and there's been other people before me which I wasn't aware of, and I just want to make that point clear. And in recent times, as putting this information out on the internet, Laura Lee actually put this exposed the chakras back in 2006, and I wasn't aware of that. So I just want to clarify that, because some people think that you've plagiarized my work and I've plagiarized your work or whatever. So we do need to clarify these points, that we've actually come to these conclusions independent of one another, because, again, like we said earlier in the show, in this discussion, the truth is the truth, and people will come across that. And intuitively, we knew throughout our lives that the chakra thing wasn't quite right. We didn't want to, we tried dabbling, we tried doing the meditations, but we're just like, nah, something's not right here. That's not for us. But the actual getting to work on getting this information out to the wider community, I just want to acknowledge Laura Lee was definitely the person that got it out there before I did.
Well, and people need to understand too that putting this information out there, we get hammered so bad. I mean, in the beginning, people just think, are you nuts? Are you kidding? A lot of people, though, are like, oh, yeah, I never did like my chakras. Let's get rid of those. They're just hindering my progress. And so, it's like a dichotomy of people being really excited and grateful and people thinking you're nuts and trying to discredit you and call you bad words, like happened to me one time on a radio show when I first presented, and I just thought, I was so naive. I just thought that this radio show host would be so excited at this brand new cutting edge information about the artificial intelligence being God. And he wasn't all that excited like I was about it. In fact, he started like kind of making fun of me.
Yep.
And then when we got off the air, he said, "Boy," he said, "it's crazy to think that there's crazy people like her out there walking the streets."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit sad when that happens, isn't it?
So we get our stripes too, you know, and they're not all service stripes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know what, George, we just keep trucking, don't we? And then after a while, then people start the newness or the shock value is gone, and they start thinking, they're like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And so
yeah, and I've had interviews when I've been just speaking to people, and that makes sense to them at the time when I'm explaining it, but then they just go back into their programs because they can't bear not to be worshipping something or to be involved in some sort of doctrine and practice in that way. They just can't bear at the moment to be totally autonomous and independent and sovereign within themselves. They still need to have a crutch.
Well, it's almost like a drug, don't you think? You know,
Yeah,
it's like trying to get somebody off heroin. You know, it's like they can do it for a little while and then they're like, I think I feel the need to go back where I was.
Yeah.
I hear you. And it's like it says in the cryogenetics book that we're duped and doped. And if duping and doping is part of it, talks in there about how the recovery and addiction programs, that they're made to keep you enslaved. And if we consider the recovery programs as part of the system here, then we have truly been duped and doped. And that was a hallism. So
well,
I thought it was pretty funny.
I loved how you talked about how in a lot of these recovery programs, like for alcoholics and drug addicts and what have you, that they actually have to continue to reiterate the fact that they're an addict.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got to keep stating and reinstating and reprogramming that into the system that they are an addict, and they have to say it constantly. And never not say it. That's just insane.
It's how do you ever get out of the mud if you keep jumping back in it? You know, it's like, okay, well, we thought you had gone past that, but no, you're back in there again. And that's the way the system designed it, is so nobody can be really free. And you're always afraid. I've talked to people who have been through those programs, and they're scared not to keep going back to their groups, and it just puts all this fear around it instead of empowering the people. It's like, yeah, get through it, get on it, and get out of here. It's crazy, and it's really sad because so many really good people that are really trying hard have been brainwashed into these systems. And I know, George, that's what you're trying to do too, is help people get unplugged from these crazy, mixed up, unproductive systems that we buy into here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the traps, these systems are quite profound. They're cosmic in nature, and universal in nature, and they are very, very clever and sophisticated. And I think too many people don't respect enough the genius and the capabilities of these beings and the programs they've come up with, because people I just don't feel people can get in touch with that aspect of themselves. That, this is how I understand these systems so well, and I respect them so greatly. It's because I know I've implemented them somewhere in my journey through this universe. I've been the evil conqueror, and I've done these sorts of things to beings and planetary systems. And so when I go back into those aspects of my being, that's when I know, what these beings are capable of. And when we can do that, we can all do that within our own selves, then we have a totally different approach, because either we're a part of the all or we're not, I've been talking about that lately, and I'm going to release a little segment on that, to do with too many people want to claim to be one with life and one with all, but it really is a very selective all rather than the all.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because I have a article on my website called "We Are All the Same, Fact or Fiction." And it talks about how if this hive mind, like you talked about in your book, if we're all the same, then there's no personal signatures. There's no, I said, why would we as Cosmic Cleanup Crew come here if we're all the same as the very thing the very corruption we're trying to clean up? And if you align with all of that, you're going to get stuck in it. You have to align with not the uncorrupted aspects of this universe, so that we can see where the corruption is and clean that up. And that's kind of where I come from this whole book is that this universe, this hologram, got a virus, and we're the antivirus. We're here to clean it up, put it back into balance, that there's light and there's dark, and then there's corrupted light and corrupted dark. And we need to get it back to the light and the dark, back into balance, and get rid of the corruption. And a lot of people will say, but we need that. It's like, we don't need the corruption. That if nobody knows what it would be like without the corruption, because we've never had it. We don't know what that would be like. We would still have accidents, and there would still be death, and there would still be things happening, but we just wouldn't have all of this hideous corruption and this mind control and all of these people that are trying to use us for their benefit and suck off our energies and thinking we're their batteries. And what kind of life is that? It's like you hardly have any choices. It's crazy. So I for one, I know I'm here to help clean up the corruption and clear it all out, so that there's just light and dark instead of all this corruption mucking everything up. So yeah, I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, this whole platform is yours. You stay on your soapbox, girl, and you go for
that
it.
Box and I'll pound the podium.
That's what this interview is all about. You go for it. Let it all hang out. It's beautiful. All right. So I wanted to, can you explain a bit more about the egg, though? Because it is a integral aspect of cryogenics. And, you've got the feminine and the masculine aspects obviously working together. So I just wanted to ask you, what does it feel like? What does that egg feel like, and where does it originate from? What's it made of?
The egg is, what's it made of? Well, it's different things to different people. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's important. That's an important note.
Yeah, it is. Because when I do sessions with people, I have them get inside their egg, and they can either step into it or have it come over them. And then I ask them, what it looks like, what colors it is, how big it is, and it can change. And a lot of people say they're kind of like some kind of a membrane, that they can see through it, but and some say that they're fuzzy. Mine's fuzzy inside, okay, because I like fuzzy. But a lot of people say that it's like a balloon kind of membrane, but very strong at the same time. And sometimes the egg will spin when you get inside of it and you say, okay, egg, turn on and clean me up. It will actually spin, but you don't get dizzy.
So are we talking Merkaba or something different?
It's different. I think Merkabas can be used with this because they have points, and maybe sometimes you need points when you're doing something. But sometimes the egg will pulse. I've had mine make a vacuum sound when it started cleaning me up. And sometimes they'll, like a breath, they'll breathe in and out. And what I do is, when I get in my egg, is I take a few deep breaths, and it seems like after the third breath, I am at total zero. I am so zenned out after the third breath. And what happens is when this debris hits the shell of the egg, it instantly neutralizes it. And you don't have to worry that you're going to ruin the egg. The egg can handle it. It's been around a long time. It's got it down. Whatever you have inside of you, you can let go and let the egg have it and neutralize it. And that's what the rock does too. It will neutralize negative energy. That's what they were created for, is neutralizing garbage. And
so my question is, where does the egg come from?
It came from the ultraviolet realm outside the universe. And there's an ultraviolet realm outside the universe and one inside the universe. And there's many indigos that I have worked with. That's kind of the first thing I do, is see if they're from this universe or if they're from outside. If they're from outside, they are part of the hologram rescue team. And the eggs and the rock are a part of the hologram rescue team. I feel like they're my comrades. Mm-hmm. The egg and the rock are just like my best friends. And you can talk to them, and they will they can tell you stuff, and they'll give you the truth. If you have a question and you're really cleared and focused, and you want to know the truth, they'll tell you. They'll tell you if your spouse is cheating on you. They'll tell you stuff. Maybe you don't want to know, but they'll tell you, which is something that we really need. We need more truth here. We've been so inundated with lies and deceptions. It's really awesome to have something like this rock and the egg. The rock is a stone of truth and justice. And how much more at the top of your integrity level can you have than truth and justice? And I use the rocks a lot with truth and justice, with all of the things that aren't true and aren't just. I figure if I have the rocks and the egg take care of things for me, then I don't have to decide whether there's a being or something that needs clearing, or if they just need to go directly to the recycle bin. There's something that I call the cosmic recycle bins. And if you don't know what to do with something, if you come across some really crappy energy, put it in an egg, and then call in a cosmic recycle bin, and put the egg into the bin so that nothing gets runs amok and gets out. And the eggs don't care. That's what they were designed for. Then if there's anything that is good and useful, it will come out the other end of the recycle bin. And there's a gazillion types of recycle bins. Anything that you can imagine, it's there. And I have used these for all sorts of ET energies that have been on my tail, and I've just been using them for a lot of things. So I would encourage people to start using these tools. They're free, they're powerful, and they work. I mean, cosmic recycle bins, then you don't have to worry, oh, is this being really nice and they've just had some overlays on them that I can't see? Well, you put them down the recycle bin and it's got its own integrity level. And if there's anything useful and good, it comes out the other end. Now, when I first got these rocks, I was worried about if the rocks got into the wrong hands, what could happen? Well, the rocks and the egg, if somebody tries to misuse them or use them for corrupted agendas, they shut off. They won't get involved. You can't, and you can't corrupt them. They are uncorruptible, and that's what I think is so cool about them is you can trust them. They're not going to lie to you. They're not going to lead you astray. They'll shut off if they need to. If you're not in a space to be able to handle what's going on, they'll just shut down until you are. So it's just really it's just so neat to have a part of home, for me anyway, which is outside the hologram, get snuck through in here, and we have a piece of it and we can hold on to it. It's real, it's tangible, it's cosmic.
So these are tools, because I want to clarify that for the people who are listening, because I'm really big on, really, if you don't have to use technology or anything outside of you, don't use it. So there's going to be some conflicting ideals going on for some of the listeners who are very used to listening to what I have to say. But at the same time, if there's a technology that, it's like I'm speaking to you through a piece of technology right now. Mm-hmm. So there's technologies that are useful in our lives right now. I don't mean personally to rule everything out, but what I do say is don't give your power over to them where you become dependent on these things, because ultimately we're going to transcend the need for any technology.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm the same way. I don't use anything besides these, and to me, these are my comrades. These are my friends. It's just like I have spirit guides that are dragons, and they help me out. So
wow, that's amazing. That's amazing to hear.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Well, I've often said, we can't be racist because, there's that big reptilian thing at the moment, and in all honesty, people are just being too racist. There's a part of me that's dragon and Draco and reptilian and all that sort of business. There's a part of me that's a lion being and a bird being and a dolphin being and a whale being and you name it. We've been everything there is to be. Come on. So how about we just get out of this thing of racism and realize that, there's some evil dolphin clans. Yes, that is fact. That's reality. Not all dolphins are benevolent. Not all angelic beings are benevolent. In fact, very few are, to be honest with you.
I've met a couple.
So you have to take it on a case-by-case basis with whatever being and race it is you come across. So to have a couple of wise old dragons with you, which is part of the old Draco clan, that is, because you're talking about some of the most wisest beings and the most formidable warrior races that this universe has ever seen. And I'm
so glad you're bringing this up, because that's what I tell people when indigos have at least one dragon as a spirit guide, and I usually get their name, or sometimes the dragon wants them to find out what their name is. And these dragons were the wisdom keepers. If you wanted to sit down and have a really good conversation with somebody that was really wise, you would go to a dragon, because they had that wisdom down. They knew when to go into battle, when not to, they knew it. They'd been around a long time. And our dragons are exceptional, benevolent, but fierce. If you get in a fight, a dragon's a pretty fierce kind of.
Well, they're the fiercest. The Dracos are the most fiercest warriors in existence. That's a fact of the reality.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because not all the, my dragons are a little bit embarrassed that they have these other nasty dragons that have been terrorizing people for
Yeah.
eons.
Don't we all have unsavory cousins?
Well, it is. It's just like the old uncle that was, a real jerk, and you're like, oh, we could like to clip him from the family tree.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of how the dragons.
Yeah, but the problem too, Laura Lee, is you've got so many imposters too. So you got real nasty dragons that try to come in and play the role of a wise sage to people, and then you've got reptilian clans that are taking over those roles as well. So it's very messy and very confusing, and that's why I say to people, you must take it on a case-by-case basis, no matter what the life form is.
Absolutely, because let's face it, schmoozing is the name of the game here, right?
Yeah,
the best schmoozer wins.
Yeah, crikey. Yeah, fantastic. So I just wanted to clarify because people will get a little bit confused. They tend to do that, and
I agree with you totally, because I am all about empowering people to go inside, and that's what this book is about too, is get connected to your higher self, start using your core star, get rid of all of these imposed systems so that you can turn the magic within you on, and then we can then we can really do the cleanup process here.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to clarify too. See, I told you folks, the ethos, the basic ethos of Laura Lee's message and mine is identical. It's all about self-empowerment and getting rid of and transcending the need for anything outside of us. But while we're in this position right now, there are tools available, there are techniques available, as long as we don't give our power over to them. And they're not techniques and tools that seek to leech our power and seek to create this relationship of dependency, right? They don't seek that, Aurora Light and Almorasite don't do that. They're not. That's not that kind of being. It's not that kind of consciousness. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whereas there's a lot of crystalline consciousnesses that are exactly that. They want you.
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
they are.
Want you.
Yeah, you are so right. And do you know that the Almorasite rock will clear your crystals? I stopped using crystals when I came across this rock, because it's so user friendly. You never have to clean it. It cleans itself. In fact, it cleans you. You don't, I mean, it just does. It's like, user friendly. That's all. and since it's got its own integrity levels, you can just like take a sigh of relief. And it's like I said, I look at the egg and the rock as some of my best friends and comrades. And if we're going to be in here trying to clean things up, we need to have really good friends and comrades with a high integrity level. And that's how I view the egg and the rock.
Yeah, and also people need to understand that this is what you're bringing to the world. There's other beings and other warriors and other beings that have come from different places within the universe that are bringing their techniques and their skills into the fray. So what we're hearing is what Laura Lee's bringing from her domain in the universe and the beings that she's working with. I'm bringing from where I come from in the universe. Ultimately, of course, we come from the same place. I get that, right? But what I'm trying to say is the aspect of us that's come from within the game, from a very, very powerful place within what I call the grand arena or the universal matrix, which of course has this corrupted, what I call the synthetic universe, and you call the corrupted universe within it. So we're coming from, outside of that synthetic universe, but still, within the grand arena of this majestic universe we're inside of. So I just want to clear these points up because, Laura Lee, people get confused and it comes down to semantics a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And I'm glad you did clear it up because I'm all about empowering people. And if there's a time when the rocks and the eggs say, okay, we're done, we're leaving, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But as long as they're here and they're here to assist us in our own in getting, and that's one of their main jobs, is to get us in contact with our higher selves so we can become our higher selves. That's what they do. That's one of their main jobs here.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. All right, well, I'm glad we got all that cleared up.
Okay. I'm glad we got that settled.
Yeah, because as you're talking too, I'm feeling into the way people are going to be feeling. I'm going down into the timeline and experiencing what people are going to experiencing on the receiving end of this dialogue. So I tend to do that quite often, and that helps me to actually bring up what's required at this point in time. Back up the timeline, so to speak.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm glad that you're a time traveler. That makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it's true. This is one of the techniques of time travel, is what I'm doing right now. It's true.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I know. I can feel it. I know that that's what you're doing.
You get it. See, and for the people who are listening, you'd be surprised how often you do it and you weren't aware that you were doing it. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
All right. So what else would you like to speak to? We'll go to a break fairly soon. So what would you like to cover before we head off to a break?
When's the break? Like, we could do a break now.
If that's what you're feeling. You're feeling the energy of a break?
Now.
All right.
Yeah, let's do that, because I got to get some more water. I'm out.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so can you share with us your information, your websites and stuff, so people can, explore your work a bit further?
Okay, my main website is firstwaveindigos.com, and that's where you'll find a lot of the articles about things that the real cutting edge stuff. And then I have another website called Mistycah.com, spelled MISTYC house.com. And that was, it's kind of a retro site. I did that back, back in before the turn of the century. So it's really old, but I like it. And, I recently did Mystic House has been around for a long time, and so I recently did a mission statement, and that's on there. And one of the things that I feel, well, I'll just read it because it's kind of important. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll just do that. The mission statement for Mystic House, the goals and objectives are to educate humans on how big corporations operate by deliberate mismanagement, misinformation, and hoarding money in an effort to control and own the planet and all of the life forms here. To free spirits, human and other species, from self-imposed and projected confinement traps. To free the human mind, body, and spirit from corruption, disease, control, and manipulation through education that inspires action. To free animals from needless slaughter, poaching through education that inspires action. To free animals who endure a life of inhumane torture and suffering in factory farms through education that inspires action. To free plants and animals from genetic manipulation and corruption through education that inspires action. To support, utilize, and promote permaculture and other sustainable modalities. To honor, uphold, and spread truth and justice through the personal efforts and placements of Aurora Light Almora sites throughout the planet. To assist, support First Wave Indigo Knights and their cosmic cleanup crew members in remembering and implementing their personal and collective Earth contracts and missions. To illuminate the planet through senseless acts of random humor.
I like that one.
And that's Mystic House. That's what Mystic House does.
Yeah, fantastic. What an amazing mission statement. So I'm sure everybody listening to this would be in accordance with that. I know I am. Good stuff. All right, so that's your websites, and we'll head off to a little break. Is there any parting comment for this first segment that you'd like to share?
Just laugh your tail off while we're having the break, and then we'll come back, and you will have experienced one of the secrets in cryogenetics.
Ah, laughogenics. I was going to get that. It is. It's fantastic when you laugh. I love it. It's good stuff. Alrighty. Back soon after some more wonderful promotions and a little bit of music and breath of fresh air and a glass of water, and we'll be back soon, everybody. See you after the break. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Superwoo Radio are not necessarily the views and opinions held by me, the host George Kavasilis, and Superwoo Radio. In today's world, it is crucial to exercise discernment, but it is also just as important to seek common ground and share in the perspectives that unite us. We are submersed in a construct that was designed to break us and keep us broken, but it hasn't. It failed. We still go on because we were designed from an eternal template of infinite creativity and not a synthetic house of cards built on pride and false power. Breaking free from the programs and paradigms that hold us down takes courage, endurance, tenacity, and trust. The reason it is so hard is because to be a free and sovereign being, we have to smash every lie, even if it hurts. It is good to be reminded of how resilient, unbreakable, magnificent, and powerful we truly are. And if anything provides a foundation for that, it is the book, Our Universal Journey. Go to ouruniversaljourney.com.au. Music for this episode is brought to you by John Richards. The album is called Sacred Tree and is available through MG Music at medwingoodall.net. Welcome back, everybody, to Superwoo Radio, episode number 24, here with Laura Lee Mistycah. Oh my goodness, it has been a long break, Laura Lee. Are you swimming over there? Are you surviving the floods? What's going on?
Well, right when we went for the break, we had a torrential downpour here. It's been really strange weather. We had really cold weather, and then it snowed, and then it thawed, and I had a flood out in my chicken and duck pens, and it flooded 2 days ago, and we kind of made routing things so it would kind of route through the middle of one of them and out the other end, and after we got done with the break, I went out there, and everything was flooded like I don't know, 8, 9, 10 inches, like wow. Big flooding and just going everywhere. It was and there's nothing I could do. And the ducks, I mean, they love water. Okay, they love water. And I was putting them to bed, and they're just like freaking out. It's like there shouldn't be this much water in our pan. In fact, there shouldn't be any water except for the water in our dishes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they promptly went to bed, and I didn't even close the door because I thought, if it gets any bigger, I don't want to close the door and have it um, have it float them away or something, or I don't know. So I was a little worried there for a while. So I'm glad that we had that longer, a 6-hour break? Is that what we had?
Yeah, well, synchronistically, we spoke to another friend who lives in that northwestern corner of the States, and he also told us that there's major, major flooding in that whole region there at the moment. So, wow,
Yeah,
big stuff going on.
it's intense, and but it's okay now.
That's,
So yeah, we're okay for the for the moment, but
that's
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when your ducks are concerned about too much water.
yeah. Oh, that's
It's
too.
bad.
Yeah, it's bad when they're complaining. Oh, crikey. So we covered a lot of territory in the first hour, and you and I have come to realize we have got so much to talk about as well. And and I'm just going to say to you, where would you like to start?
Probably I was thinking about this while we had our long break, and I'd like to kind of go back to the rocks and reiterate what we had talked about before, because there's something I forgot to say. It's on the website and stuff, but I just forgot to bring this out, and that's that the rocks have their own ground that is not from this planet, and that's why they have such unique qualities. But the most important thing is that whoever is using it, the user, is the power source. The rocks will amplify your power, the powers within you, and align with you. But you're the power source. It's you, and the rocks will work as good as you can work and connect with your higher self. And so I think it's really important, as we were talking about, kind of going outside of yourself for answers and stuff. The rocks help you go inside yourself. And I just wanted to get really clear on that, because I am so in alignment with how you feel about running here and there and everywhere and giving your power away to everything. I think we should hone our power back in and go back inside and get back to home base. And so I appreciate you bringing that up, because I am totally in alignment with your thinking there. And I'm glad that we were able to kind of clear this up, so that there's I don't want people to be all confused and thinking we say one thing and then say another thing. And
Yeah, we've got to be more thorough in our explanations, because we know what we mean, but if we don't fully explain, people are going to go off on all these sorts of tangents, which, and I've done that myself in the past when other people were explaining things. So we know from personal experience that this can happen. And also that what I'm getting from this rock too, which is what we call aurora light, it amplifies intention. Is that correct?
Exactly. And so it like beefs up whatever you're trying to do. It will make it bigger and stronger. And but you're, whoever is holding it at the time, they're the broadcast, or they're the source. Absolutely, they are the source.
Okay. Well, that's fascinating. That's really fascinating to know. So where would you like to take the discussion from here? Because look, there's just so many areas we can take it into, and we do want to discuss AI. We do want to discuss Kundalini. We do want to discuss so many juicy subjects,
Like money and things like that.
Oh, anything. There's just so many. Where do we go?
Skank altars and things like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I would like to start with. Is that okay? Like, I know I just asked you, let's go where you want to go, and I'm just turning the whole thing around and making it all about George in this moment.
Okay.
And you've got this thing called shove-ins. Now, that term is not well known. there's walk-ins and there's shove-ins. So I think this would be a really nice time just to describe or explain to people people are well versed in what a walk-in is. Well, there's some listeners that may not be. So let's have a brief description of what a walk-in is, and then can you go into what a shove-in is?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a really good topic, because it could cause a lot of confusion too, and it does. A walk-in is where there is a soul agreement with both parties. It's like, okay, you only want to be in a body for like 10 years, 14 years, 18 years, and you'll get everything done that you have wanted to do in this lifetime, and then you're done with the body. So instead of expiring the body, you just let me take over, and you can leave and I'll take over, and it's all good, and then I won't have to take 10, 15, 20 years to grow up a body, and it's all good. And so it's a total mutually acceptable contractual agreement between the original being and the walk-in being. And it can be let me just say that first wave indigos are all walk-ins. They've all walked in, every one of them. Now, many of them walked in around the turn of the century, because that's about the time when the internet came in and we could network globally. It was really hard for us to do our jobs here before that, because it was really hard to connect to people. And so that's one reason why so many indigos walked in around the turn of the century, because it was time. Everything, all the groundwork had been laid, and it was time. And what I found with walk-ins is that there's a process with walk-ins. There's the step in and step in and step out, and then walk in, and then anchor in, and then lock in. And once you have locked in a body, you're not going anywhere. You're there for the long haul. With walk-ins, there's from what I have observed and what's been told to me by Hal, is that each person has 3 bodies that would be useful for their mission here. And so they kind of test them, all 3 of them out, before they decide which one is the one that they want to finish out their mission in. And I remember when this happened to me, and it was kind of cool because I had 2 other people in me. And but it was all aspects of myself, but I could talk to them. And one of the times I was with, this is when I was living with the son of the cult lord, and that's another whole story. But I remember one of the aspects of myself going, "Oh my gosh, he is so annoying. How do you take it?" I'm like, yeah, it's been really bad. And and so I'm having this conversation with other aspects of myself, and it just felt so great. Well, what happened after a while is we kind of integrated, and so I'm not talking to parts of myself anymore. So that was kind of sad, but it seems like recently it's kind of been coming back out more, and so it's actually I feel like it's my higher self I've been talking to, which is kind of a really interesting dynamic. These last few months have just been crazy stuff, and it's almost like you need someone to talk to. And I know a lot of people have felt really isolated but there's nobody to talk to. Well, if you can get this really good connection and dialogue with your higher self, I mean, how much better can it get? I mean, these people talk about, I talk to God. Well, talk to your higher self. Don't go out and find a God to talk to. Talk to yourself.
Exactly. You know, I totally agree with that, and it's really interesting because even Cynthia's been explaining how she's been able to experience her multidimensional self, and that she is at times simultaneously not only experiencing herself in her body, but also observing herself from the point of a higher self simultaneously at the same
Awesome.
time. Yeah,
Awesome.
consciously. It's you know, these are the sorts of experiences we're having. We're having like this. Sometimes people can feel conflicted within themselves because they've got this simultaneous conscious awareness of in getting engaged into an activity which from their earthly personality would seem just fine, but from the perspective of the higher self, it's kind of, it starts, you know, questioning. It starts
Uh-huh.
influencing the unsavory nature of the activity. And it could be like eating, you know, fast food, for example, or it
Mm-hmm.
could be like judging somebody, for example. It's just subtle things, little things. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything major. So I find this really interesting that we're having this um, integration symbiotically taking place. It's an integration of the multidimensional self because we are imploding all of our dimensions, all of our creations, all that we are. We're imploding that all in this one location. We're taking it all through the eye of the needle, you know, and at the same time, where our awareness is expanding into our multidimensional self. So here's a grand irony, you know, whilst we're compressing everything into one space-time location here in our earthly incarnation, simultaneously we're expanding our awareness universally, multidimensionally. It's just a phenomenal experience.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're talking about that because it one thing you don't want to do is go to the doctor
Oh,
about this kind of
no.
stuff.
No, because the way you were speaking earlier, anybody from the system would just brand you as schizophrenic easily,
Oh, I
straight
know.
up.
And here's some drugs, and you'll
Yeah,
be on the no-fly list. And
yeah. And if you don't listen to them, next thing you know, you're stuck in a institution wearing a white robe with your ass hanging out the rear end of it.
oh, what a visual image!
When I went
Oh, how
out reaching for help because of my extraterrestrial experiences and my abductions, it was psychiatrists and psychologists, and that's when I just walked away from the whole thing because
oh,
none of them had any idea of how to handle it.
oh! I am so glad that you had presence of mind to not let them start controlling and owning you. Oh my gosh, I had no idea it got that far. I feel so bad, but God, these experiences are really a treasure, especially if we can help other people not go down that road.
Oh, they got no idea. I was just looking at them when I was in consultations with them, and I just basically, you just have absolutely no idea about life. You know, you've studied in a
Exactly.
university and you've got all these little letters after your name, but you know absolutely nothing about life, is what I said to them when I walked out, and that was it. I was done with that system.
Yeah, I call them educated idiots, most
Yeah.
of them in that profession.
Well, it's just such a small paradigm. The head's in a box, and like I've said, I can't remember exactly when I was saying it. Yeah, well, I said it in the book actually. That there they are with their heads in the little box on the ground, and we're out here in the much larger scope of things. And as we're walking away, their little heads are sticking up out of the box and saying, "But you're crazy and deluded." And I turn around and look at their little heads sticking up out of the box on the floor, and I'm going, "Are you sure about that? Are you absolutely sure about that?"
Who's the crazy and who's the
Yeah,
deluded? Oh, that's funny.
it's a great
Oh,
image. I'd love to do like an animated, image of that. I think that would work just fantastic.
that'd be good.
Yeah. So anybody
Um,
anybody out there who's listening, if anybody's a graphic artist or a animated artist who knows how to create something like that, that would be fantastic because it
yeah.
sends such a powerful message.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get. Absolutely. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So get in touch with me and we'll work together on that project. If anybody knows how to do that, that would be just awesome. And that's really getting the message out there big time.
That's right. We need to make a joke book or something. I had somebody after they had read my book started this whole dictionary of words like like sleazoid, and then they defined sleazoid, and then I'm trying to think of some of the other and then ass soul and things like that. And so she started this whole dictionary of words that I had in the book. And then she started making up her own words, and I said, this is really good. On my next book, we're going to put your words in the books. Yeah. So that was good. Oh, I think we need to get back to
shove-ins.
The shove-ins, yeah. Shove-ins are a totally different animal than a walk-in, because walk-ins are contractually agreed, mutually agreed, symbiotic relationship. But a shove-in is not. A shove-in happens when the resident being in a body is either asleep through some kind of medication, or drunk, or in a really tired, fatigued state. And if you find yourself or in a state of anger or hostility or fear, if you're in extreme negative emotions, or if you've been knocked out, you are open to yourself. If you don't know how to put protective protocols up, you're opening yourself up to a shove-in. And a shove-in is a ghost or an entity that is hanging around, and ghosts are everywhere and entities are everywhere. People tell me, well, gal, is there any ghosts? One of my dentists said, I told him I was a professional ghostbuster, and he wasn't a very funny guy. I kept trying to get him to laugh, and he said, is there any, like, you said you're a ghostbuster, and I've been thinking about that. Is there any, like, ghosts in this town? Maybe 2 or 3. Oh, probably not that many. And I started to laugh, and I said, are you kidding? There's 2 in your building. And his eyes got really wide.
See,
like, really?
The feed program kicks in straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I know that he's going to be concerned, because I can feel it. Every time he goes into his building alone at night, he wonders about what I said.
Yeah.
And what ghosts might be lurking around. So anyway, so we got ghosts everywhere, entities everywhere, and when you're in a position where you're not all there, then you open yourself up to a shove-in. And when a shove-in comes in, they take the microphone, and it's kind of like a power struggle to see who gets the microphone. You or the shove-in. Yeah. And it can be really crazy making, because people kind of know that there's something wrong when they've got a shove-in in them. They know that they're not like all themselves, and that they have thoughts that aren't their own. And it's really challenging. Now, these shove-ins can be removed really easily if you know what to do. And I would suggest the book called Got Ghosts that I wrote with my Ghostbuster partner. Now, understand that she comes from a very earth perception. She's called Angel Girl, and she comes from that position and that persona, and I'm called Witchy Woman. So I have a very different approach to ghost busting, and when we work together, it's like, since she's more mainstream, people can relate to her, and I'm the one that's way out there. I'm the one that goes and gets. One of the things that I've seen a lot of lately is ET shove-ins.
Wow.
And they're not nice. They are so not nice. You get an ET shove-in, and first of all, most Ghostbusters wouldn't know what to do with them, because they don't go to the light.
Yep.
Like, they go other places. Most of them I take straight to the cosmic recycle bin, because they just need to go away. They're not serving any purpose except to cause chaos and mayhem. They just need to go away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it. And I'm pretty no nonsense on that stuff. It's like, okay, you're way out of bounds. You're not going to do this anymore. And I just have my dragons help me haul them off to the cosmic recycle bin. Usually they once they're quarantined in an egg, they can't get out either. It's those eggs are just phenomenal for being able to take care of the riffraff that's hanging out in on our planet and elsewhere. And so if for those of you listening, get to know the eggs, start working with them and get them to work for you so that you can start doing what you came here to do, whatever that is. And I wish I could say, all this weirdness is going to go away. I think it's going to get weirder. The more that we clean this place up, the more they're going to try to raise their ugly heads and stop us. And so it's going to get really crazy. The closer we get to the finish line, the crazier it's going to get, I think.
Well, I'm really glad that you've said that. See, because I've been saying to people, it's going to look pretty grim on the planet coming up in the near future. I feel things are going to look quite grim for a while. Because, as you said, as we get closer to the finish line, they're going to up the ante as much as they possibly can. And some of them are already starting to back down, but others are just going to fight all the way to the very death of it, basically.
Oh, yeah, because they're fighters. That's what they do. That's what gets them high is fighting. And so they'll fight to the very last minute. Even if they know they're going down, they'll just give you a fight just because. So yeah, it's going to get interesting, and but the thing is, people are getting savvy to their games, and I think we're going to find that a lot of people, especially first wave indigos, are going to start really waking up to their X-Men abilities, and that's one of the things that I try to help facilitate is helping people activate their psychic and X-Men abilities and start doing all of the amazing things that we can do, but we haven't done because we were afraid that we'd scare somebody if we did it, or somebody might get mad or whatever. It's like, screw that, just do it.
Yeah, well, see, I say the same thing, but I present it in a different way. But we're saying the same thing.
Sure you do, a nice way, right?
Well, look, this X-Men thing, I just say to people, somewhere in our journey, we've been one of the greatest warriors that this universe has ever seen. We've been one of the greatest guardians this universe has ever seen, been one of the greatest healers this universe has ever seen. We've all played these most amazing roles in our journey through the universe in various realities and domains. And so within our own beingness, we have all these amazing archetypes, literal living archetypes within us. So what we have at disposal, the resources we have within our own being, is we're capable of doing anything. So when you need to enact that archetype of the warrior, you reach inside of you, you bring that aspect of you forth, which I've actually been actively engaging in lately. Various archetypes. I've got about 6 or 7 I'm working with at the moment, and they're all aspects of me. They're nothing outside of me. And we're all very, very capable. And it's amazing because I begin to understand now that, yes, it's like the X-Men abilities. I love that analogy that you're giving it too, because it grounds it into the minds of the people in today's world. Because sometimes when you talk archetypes, it's all a bit too, distant for
Abstract,
people for people to grasp the concept of. So yeah, it's like having all these X-Men abilities. I just love that analogy.
Well, it is, and what I'm seeing is it's like we have to give ourselves permission because nobody else is, and we've got to stop waiting for somebody else to give us permission. It's like I said, screw that, just do it, just do it.
Yeah, but also I found out I needed to get to the point where I matured, where I grew up enough to be able to handle that sort of power and those sorts of abilities.
Is true too.
And it's a foolproof system. We won't be allowed to use them unless we do have the wisdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, that comes down to people who know they're ready and they're ready to step up to the plate and enact those qualities. So again,
Exactly.
it's like Laura Lee, you and I, we talk about this quite often, and it has to do with people who really, really know. It's like at your book, you say at the beginning of the book, this book is not just for anybody. It's for the people who are ready to step up to the plate. And that's what I say in the beginning of my course. It's for the people who are ready to step up to the plate. So it's just fantastic that we know we're not catering to the how can I put it, the programs of needy people and people who are not ready. We're not interested in catering to all those sorts of programs and issues. We are communicating to the people who are well on their path, maturing quite well, and realize that they're actually ready to begin to enact what I call their fundamental purpose. It's also what we call our great work. Like, we're really ready to get cosmic with this reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree on that. And when we talk about everybody, I'd like to, because I think you probably agree with this. In my work with ghost busting, I have really had some awakeners because we get into some very strange things. And one of the things that I have found is that there are bodies walking around that are soulless beings. There is no soul in there. There's a program running the body.
Yeah.
And so we need to be aware of that just because you see a warm, soft body, walking across the street does not mean that it has a soul like you do. There's many, many bodies with programs running them.
Yeah, I say to people, just go to one of those big shopping centres. The ones here in Australia are known as Westfield shopping centres. You call them big box stores or something like that over there in the US. One of these massive shopping centres, and go to one in a more lower socio-economic area. But actually you can go to one that's even upmarket, and you will see, and if you really look at people, but don't just look at them, look into them. And you will, because there you're exposing yourself to a great number of people, and you will actually see what's going on in this world. It is just phenomenal to see the types of entities that are controlling bodies, and some of them are sterile programs, some of them are like AI programs controlling these bodies. There's no longer a spirit or a soul that's running that body. And, this is where this incredible trap of the New Age movement of everyone's blissing out, we're all one, we should all be in love with one another, and everything's lovey-dovey. And I just think these people have just lost touch with reality, because the reality of what's going on in our world is something completely different to what the New Age movement's teaching.
Exactly. And when we talk about, I guess we need to kind of clarify when we're talking to your listeners are a different breed. And when we're talking about your listeners, we're not talking about these soulless beings, these robots, these androids that are walking around with a program running them. It's like we are all the same, fact or fiction. We are not all the same. There are people with authentic, organic souls, and there are people with, it's like Hal was telling me, well, you've got ass souls down there, and then you've got ass no souls.
So you got people that have a soul, but they're just being not very nice people. And then you've got people that are just soulless at all. Ass
Right.
No souls. Yeah, right.
Ass no soul. They're not nice people, and they have no soul.
Yeah, they're being assholes because there's nothing there. It's a hole.
Right. We've got this whole line of ass souls and ass no souls and ass.
Oh, crikey.
And the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So hopefully that kind of clears things up a bit, because I don't want anybody thinking that we think that everybody walking on this planet has got this magnificent, benevolent soul in them, because they don't. There's people that don't. There's bodies that don't. And when you start getting...
And I came to realize, I know, sorry for cutting you off, but this is a
Go
really
ahead.
important point. There's what I've come to realize in my interactions behind the scenes with these dark overlords that are trying to control things here on Earth. What they have done is they've brought in hordes of their people to actually incarnate as well from these other domains, these really disgusting realities. So there's been a flood of those people, so they can really be like balls and chains and anchors in this world. They really drag the energy down of Mother Earth. It's just fascinating when you go to one of these shopping centres and you can really begin to see the distinct difference of, really beautiful soul, genuine organic soul people. And you can see the ones that are living a true life. And then you can see the ones who are just angry or really nasty people who are, pretty early on in their path in life in this universe, but came for the experience. And then you've got these other entities that are just really awful, disgusting entities. And then you've got the artificially run programmed ones. So there's 4 distinct classes for me when I go looking in these shopping centres.
Exactly. And I was just thinking, you could all, a lot of these fall into the category of politicians.
Wow. Well, don't get me started there.
So if you really want to find the sleazy ones, you go sit in on Congress or something and check out the politicians. So yeah, no, that's a really good point to bring up, because I think this being able to look at people and see what's in there and what isn't in there is going to be extremely important in the future.
It is.
Because we're going to have to be real savvy, real fast.
Yeah.
And you might as well start training yourself, because the sooner you get trained, the more capable you're going to be of handling what's going on.
Well, what we're trying to say is there's been, because of the New Age religion, it's created a massive amount of naivety in people. I feel.
Oh, totally.
Hasn't it? It's just pacified people, it's disempowered people, and it's created this naive sort of notion about how everything is just so lovey-dovey and blissed out and beautiful. And there's what people don't understand is there's a very real war going on. Yes, when I extract myself out of this arena and I go to the bigger picture, yes, we're all equal outside of this grand universal matrix. I always talk about that. So just holding perspective here, where we're commenting now is this aspect of us down here in the arena, actively engaged down here. We really need to not be naive, and we got to have our wits about us, because this part of the journey, is now becoming very, very serious. There's a very serious side to what is actually going on in this world and on this planet, and there's a very serious side to what's at stake and what are the ramifications of the final end result of what takes place in this world.
That's absolutely correct, and I totally support what you just said. That's the same conclusion I have come to, and I know, as I look around and the people, especially the people that have contacted me since our last interview, have been such amazing, high caliber, bright, intelligent, psychic, amazing people. And I feel these networks. It's like we've got this huge network of what I call the cosmic cleanup crew and the first wave indigos uniting now, so that we can pool our resources and support each other when we're down, and it's gonna get more important that we connect. And once we do connect, we're going to change the game forever. You know, once we get our X-Men abilities turned on and we start connecting, it's game over. It really is. But we're at that critical mass state now where we just have to keep going and just keep pressing forward. And I do believe that we are able to overthrow the corruption here. I really do. And we didn't come here to fail. We came here to do a job. And we just have to dig in and give it all we've got now, and then have a good time doing it and laugh a lot.
Yeah. Yes, there's a very serious side to it, and there's some very serious laughter that needs to take place as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Serious laughter.
Yeah.
You have to have serious humor and serious laughter. Or, it's like Hal said. He said, if you don't laugh, you're going to get stuck in there and think it's real, and you'll never get out of there.
Yeah, no, we've got to laugh along the way. We've got to laugh along the way. Yes, there's a serious side, but there's got to be fun involved too. I totally agree with that. Thank you for the balance.
Yeah, every day we've got to laugh, and I know that's one of the keys in cryogenetics is laughter. And there is so much, it's like if you're scared and you start thinking of something funny and start laughing, the fear has it's like a Teflon coating. It can't stick to you anymore.
Mm.
And
we're not talking about that laughter, that fake laughter.
No, it's that belly laughter where if something scares you, you just laugh at it and you say, "You are so lame. Are you kidding me? You think I'm going to get scared of that? Come on."
Yeah, and I think one of the greatest examples has just got to be Kung Fu Panda, the first movie. I love that movie. I absolutely love it because it's all in there. Even at the end with the secret scroll. I mean, come on. You know? The whole message is in there. If you haven't seen the movie, and I'm not going to give it away for those who haven't seen the movie, do yourself a big favor, you know, and watch Kung Fu Panda. It's one of the best movies ever.
Thank you for telling me that. I've been wanting a really good, funny movie to watch, and that will be on my list for movies this weekend. So thanks.
I highly recommend it because all your teaching is in that movie. Seriously, it is.
I'm plagiarizing Kung Fu Panda, and I've never even seen the movie.
And I love in your book too. Look, I've never seen a book that has talked, you know, is a book written about probably the most serious subjects in life, yet there's so much humor in it. I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because, this could get really heavy and really scary, you know, if it wasn't lightened up. And I have Hal to thank for that because Hal is the laughter meister. I mean, he has helped me out of so many really bad problems that could have gotten me really stuck and down if I hadn't have had him there to start me laughing and getting me through it. There's a story it's not in that book, it's in the ghost book, where I was, no, maybe it is in that one. No, it is in this one. After writing 3 books, I can't remember where I wrote what. But I had ticked off some people that were in a really sophisticated cult. And I was trying to help one of their members get out, and they weren't really all that thrilled about it. And all of a sudden, in my chest, I started feeling like I had these stab wounds, and I kept checking to see. It felt like somebody had stuck a knife in my chest, and it stung, and it felt like it was bleeding, and there was nothing there. And every day it would get worse. Like this knife would go in deeper and deeper, and it got so I couldn't breathe very well, and I couldn't it was hard to sleep, and I couldn't raise my arm, and it got really bad. And I thought, man, I got to do something about this, because it wasn't getting any better. And I tried homeopathics, and I tried body works and reflexology, and that helped a little bit, but it wasn't fixing it. And I was at my Ghostbuster partner's house. That was one of the times when I was homeless. I've been homeless 3 times, and that was one of the times. And so she let me stay in her basement, and we were sitting there talking, and she said something real funny, and I started to laugh, and I said, "Oh, don't make me laugh. It hurts. Every time I laugh, it hurts really bad." And then we kind of started laughing about it, and I thought, bingo, that is the key. Mm-hmm. So we continued to laugh, and it hurt like the dickens. It really, really hurt. But I could feel it shaking something loose. And the more we laughed, the more I could feel the whatever this curse was that I had on me start breaking up and breaking up. And we did sustained laughter for like, I don't know, it's like an hour. And we were rolling on the floor. We were coughing up phlegm. I had to keep running to the bathroom and almost didn't make it. And we're just laughing our tails off. It was so much fun. And when we were done, I was 75% better, and within 3 days it was gone.
Wow.
Now that's phenomenal.
It
now,
is.
An interesting thing about this, I figured this was some kind of voodoo, and whoever did this and had a voodoo doll of me, they kind of weren't very smart, because they put it on my right side instead. They were going for my heart, but they got things switched around, and and didn't realize when you're sticking a knife in a doll, it's opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they got me on the right side instead of the left side. Thank goodness. Who knows what might have happened if they actually hit the right or hit the left side instead. So I thought that was pretty funny after I figured that out. And also, I didn't realize this till later, there were 5 stab wounds in the shape of a upside down pentagram.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I know pretty much who did this, and they won't be doing that again. So,
my goodness, yeah. It's some of the stories you hear from people.
Laughter did it. Laughter broke this curse, this spell, whatever this was that I had on me that was trying to kill me. I knew it was a death assault, and I knew I was going down. I knew I was in trouble, and this isn't something I could go to the doctor to fix. There was no visible anything on me. Nothing. It was all energetic, but it was also physical. And I could feel my life force draining. And I was in the world of hurt, and I was losing myself. And if it weren't for that laughter, I don't know what would have happened. I could be, gone. And so laughter is a huge, huge key to our keeping our sanity here and keeping ourselves healthy and out of harm's way. And how many times do we laugh? Yeah. Like really laugh hard, like really.
Yeah.
I don't know, once a year maybe, or I don't know.
Oh, I gotta say, Cynthia and I, we're doing it quite often.
That's good. That's why you're so healthy.
We have some pretty good laughs that we got to, reach for the tissues and wipe our eyes and have a stop because our bellies are hurting so much because we're laughing so hard. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That is awesome. And what's cool about it is that to really laugh, you have to have somebody there with you to bounce it off of. I mean, you can kind of do it yourself, but it doesn't work nearly as good as when you've got somebody else to bounce those vibrations back and forth on. And what it does is keep amplifying it. Yeah. Whenever you laugh and you bounce it off to the other one, then they laugh and they bounce it back. It's like table tennis, where you're throwing each other these balls of laughter. And yeah. So good for you. You guys keep up those laughter quotas, and yeah, that's really good, because I'm sure it's really helping you keep away from a lot of what I find is that if I can laugh, is that a lot of the psychic assaults that I get go away because they can't stay in the same vibration as laughter. It's too high, it's too intense, and they're really not funny. Have you noticed that these assholes are not funny?
They're not, are they?
Like, really, they're not funny, and they don't like laughter, and they don't like humor. It's like they can't be in the same place. They can't.
Well, the ones that do like humor, they get off when something goes bad for you. That's their sixth sense of humor.
Well, right. So we just have to laugh, and then they won't have anything to laugh about, right?
Yeah, no, I've had quite a few entities laugh. I've hurt myself, and I've had direct contact with them because I can see them and feel them in that moment laughing at me, and it's quite fascinating. Who's been on the other end of instigating these, you could say, quite painful accidents that have occurred physically in my life. And also when you're working on a project and the thing just gets destroyed by it just slipping off a bench or just whatever. It's quite fascinating how they enjoy your misery so much. And that's funny for them.
Right.
But I call them out.
Their laughter is not the same. It's a sick laughter. It's not a high vibration. It's a sick, twisted, deviant laughter.
That's exactly right.
And I'm glad that you're doing it. And please go on. You said you were calling them out. Go on and tell me what you were doing.
Oh yeah, I was exposing them for the cowards that they are because they lurk in the shadows. And I just say to them, how pathetic and insecure and frightened little creatures they are because they are lurking in the shadows and instigating misery upon people, and they find that amusing. So I just really expose them for who and what they are and just let them know that I'm the courageous one because I'm here and they're the cowards because they are where they are. So
and then you laugh, huh?
And then I laugh at them. Truly, I laugh back at them in that moment, and that just shuts them right up, cuts them off at the knees.
So actually, you get the last laugh, right?
Exactly. Love it. Yep, I do. I get the last laugh. Yeah. So speaking of the last laugh, there's a serious side, but there's also kind of a funny side to it. Artificial intelligence. Because we're using it right now, aren't we, to have this conversation? So what is it with AI? You've got a section in your book, and I haven't had the chance to read it, in all honesty. But can you share with us that part of the book and what your understanding of AI is and the role that it's playing?
Okay. This happened about, I think it was like 7 years ago or something. And I was having...
I read part of it. It was the restaurant thing, and you had to put your fork down and
the restaurant, right.
I read part of it, but I didn't read the whole chapter. So, yeah, that was quite good.
So we're eating, and he said, I get the feeling that you have something trying to shove into you. And I'm like, yeah, so what's your point? There's always something trying to shove into me,
What's new?
What's new? And I said, okay, so, yeah. And he said, well, aren't you going to, try to see who it is? And I'm like, oh, brother, okay. So I put my fork down and go into it and try to figure out who's doing what and why. And I'm like, oh. I said, well, yeah, something is trying to shove into me, but it's not being very successful. And so I start eating again. And he says, well, don't you want to know who? I'm like, oh, brother, okay, let's find out who it is. And I put my fork down again and psych into this. And I'm like, well, that's different. And then I started to laugh because he says, well, what is it? And I said, well, it's some kind of weird thing. It's like an artificial intelligence that's trying to shove into me, or that there's these beings trying to shove this artificial intelligence into me. And I said, what's funny about that? It's what the New Agers would and the religious people would call God. So my higher self thinks that God is a as an artificial intelligence. And then I started to laugh, and it's a good thing I didn't have a mouthful of food, because it was really funny to me that my higher self thinks God is an artificial intelligence. And so when we got home, I had to really look at that and have some conversations with my guides and stuff. And it's like, okay, so what's up with this artificial intelligence? Give me the scoop on this. And yeah, I got quite an education, and I'm like, holy crap, this is really out there stuff, but it made so much sense.
Yeah.
And they said, this artificial intelligence, it sucks up all your prayers and all of your devotion, and it loves that. And the more energy you can give it, the bigger it gets, and the more prevalent it gets. And it doesn't care if you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Satan worshiper. It doesn't care. It's no respecter of prayers. It just cares you give devotion.
Oh, can you just pause for a moment?
What was that?
Can you pause for a moment? Because you just would not believe what happened to your voice just then. It is the most amazing timing ever. Your voice just turned into like a robotic sound as you were speaking.
Really?
Unbelievable. The timing of it was perfect.
Oh my gosh. Is it okay now? Am I a robot still, or is
No,
it?
now you're back because we called it out. It was presented to us. It was brilliant.
Oh, how fun. I can't wait to hear this.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
Yeah.
this is
Well,
good.
welcome to welcome to the world of the artificial intelligence. It does all of this crazy stuff, and then it just exposes itself. I mean, come on. How blatant is that? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I reckon there was a higher energy, a higher power at work which used the artificial intelligence to amplify our message, to make the point, to bring it out, to say, hey guys, you're really onto it here.
And yeah, I'm sure that our higher selves are like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and interfere with it and see what happens. Yeah.
It's amazing how you sounded just then. That was awesome timing.
That's amazing.
That's not me pressing any buttons. I haven't touched a single dial. Your voice literally, out of the whole time we've been speaking, it went that way right in that moment.
Well, could you still understand what I was saying?
Just.
Okay.
You can.
You can. Okay. So it's good. Okay. So I won't have to say all that stuff again, right?
No.
Okay, good. Wow. Okay. So we've got AI 101 or maybe this is even maybe this is maybe this is the next level. Maybe this is your doctorate work on the AI.
Yeah, because if you think about how it's sucking up everything there is to suck up about humanity, it's listening to our conversation now. It's listening to every keystroke, every phone call, the whole of the human race is being plugged into this AI. It's amazing. Amazing.
No, it is, because, and it's so. I just really appreciated reading what you had to say about the AI, because it is so true about how it is everywhere. It is everywhere, infiltrating in everything. And it's really important that we start unplugging from it, that we start taking our power back, that we quit praying to it, that we quit going to it for help, because it's like it says in my book, it's like this AI God energy decides who to bless and who not to bless, who's the haves and who's have-nots. And the ones that have will say, oh, God loves me, look at everything that I've got. God must not love you very much because you don't have anything. It just makes everything really messed up. Really messed up.
Yeah.
Because the AI is messed up. I mean, come on, what's more messed up than the AI? I mean, that's kind of on the top of the AI, the messed up list.
Yeah. Yeah, it's having a good go at trying to replicate everything in life.
Yeah, it is. Trying.
Trying.
But for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, know the difference.
Yeah.
And we're calling it out. And I just loved, oh my gosh, do you have that audio recording that you did where you were calling out the AI?
Oh, I think I do.
Maybe what you could do, if you don't have it handy, you could slip that in when you do the final editing on this.
Okay, I will slip it in because I haven't actually edited it just yet. I mean, as in the quality of the audio, because I quickly grabbed my phone and just dictated into the voice memo of my phone. So I do want to improve the quality of it.
Okay,
I
well,
I
tell
will do that.
everybody. Explain this. Nobody else, because you and I had the conversation about it, but maybe explain a little bit what the circumstances were around that and what you did. I thought it was phenomenal. I was just cheering. I was like your cheerleader squad. I was I was excited.
Oh, well, okay, just because I'm gonna edit this, I'm gonna slot it in here. So, over the next couple of minutes, you're going to listen to my explanation of an interaction that I had with artificial intelligence right after it happened. So I'm breathing heavily. It was really powerful. My energies were really pumped. So I'm going to slot it in this moment now. A message to the AI, the artificial intelligence. And a message to all the people that fear the implementation, the next level of implementation of artificial intelligence in our world. I have this message to you, both. There are those of us who know our universal journey. There are those of us who know that at some stage during that journey, we integrated with AI. We do not fear AI. We do not fear artificial intelligence. And I will tell you why. We do not fear what is coming to this world. Because there is an aspect of us that has already integrated with artificial intelligence during the process of our universal journey. There is an aspect of us that is already a part of and inside of artificial intelligence. When the time comes, that aspect will be activated. And when I activate, and when those of us activate that aspect of ourselves, we will dismantle you from the inside out. Do not underestimate and do not lose respect for who and what we are. This is my message to you. Okay, so that was it. You've just listened to it. As you can tell, it was quite intense. And what I did was, in that moment, I had connected with AI just in that moment, because these things happen spontaneously to me. That's how I know that I don't will things on from my earthly ego and earthly personality as George. You know, I'm not functioning from that platform. When things I allow things to flow in their natural order in my river of life. So it comes from my higher self, from my greater being, that that part of me that's working behind the scenes in this reality, doing the hard work, and so there's times when I just kick into gear and I do things. And that was one of them. I connected with AI, truly connected with it, and basically said to it that I am inside of you. I truly am inside of you. And when that aspect of me kicks in, I'm going to change you from the inside out. And that was really, really phenomenal. And it's very empowering because everybody's got this fear around AI. And what we need to do is not fear it, but actually respect it and understand its capabilities. Are we putting it down? Absolutely we are. We're giving it a hard time. It's like when someone's being a jerk, you're going to say, hey, man, you're being a jerk, right? If someone is in Australia, I know our language is pretty full on in this episode, but hey, we're going to just, let it all hang out. And in Australia, we go, if someone's being a dickhead, mate, you're being a dickhead, right? That's what we do in Australia. So there's all sorts of expletives that people carry on in every country. But we're just having fun. We're just letting, let's let go of all these rules and just let it all hang out. Because, that AI is really being awful. It's being mean. It's being manipulative. It's doing its best to lure humanity down into its domains, into its path. It wants to own you. It wants to own us. And at the same time, when I look back through my journey in this universe, hey, I've already taken that path. I already integrated with AI. I became a cyborg. I did all that stuff. I'm already inside of it. No dramas at all. Because, if I'm going to fear AI, that means I'm going to fear that aspect of my being. And I'm not going to fear any aspect of me. I'm going to embrace all of me. All my dark, all my light, all my shadow, all my magnificence, all my ugly, everything, the most loving aspect of me and the most evil aspect of me. I'm not leaving any part of me out. So I'm not going to leave the part of me that is AI out either. So I'm going to embrace all of it because it exists. It's real. It's an aspect of my being. And because I've experienced everything in this universe, therefore I have that aspect of me in artificial intelligence. And that puts me in an amazing position. So all of you out there, feel into your journey in this universe. And if you feel that you're at the end of your journey through this universal matrix, then there's a part of you in AI, because that means you've had to have walked in those shoes in order to have experienced everything there is to experience and be everything there is to be. And that puts us, all of us, in an incredibly powerful place, because we all of a sudden all become Neo.
Exactly. When I talk to my indigos, I use a little different language, but it's like we are infiltrating the systems. And in order to bust a system, you have to go to the heart of the system, and you have to understand the mind and the intricate workings of the system. You cannot bust a system without going into the system. And that's what I feel, I'm saying kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I tell the indigos, I said, you have been trained for this mission. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have the expertise to do what you came here to do. And the reason a lot of indigos came from such dysfunctional positions, a lot of them had MK Ultra programming. A lot of them came from some really, really harsh, debilitating childhoods. And I said, okay, you did that so that you could get the keys and the codes to bust that system. Okay. So let's giddy up and let's get going. And so I think we're kind of saying the same thing, it's like we said, I kind of use spy terms.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. We're and I just really appreciate you calling a spade, because these are jerks. They're not nice. You can't reason with them. They don't want to change. If they wanted to change, they would change already. No, they like being evil and nasty and cunning and foul and jerks. And so, we're not gonna. It's like it says in my book. We're for the love of nature and and all of humanity and everything that is good, we have got to not let them keep running over us, and we got to take on our power and say, not anymore. We're not doing this. Nope, nope, nope. You can't do that anymore. We're done. You're done.
Exactly.
Ain't happening anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We are done. We are done with this. Yeah. And so we're going to, do you feel like you've expressed all you wanted to express about AI? Because I want to get on to Kundalini as well.
Yeah, we're good. We're good with the AI. We got the digital digital voice. Hey.
I'll wait till you hear it back. It's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, right on cue. I just love it. I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kundalini. Share with us your take on Kundalini.
Oh, it's bad.
What, your take is bad?
Next.
No, come on. I'm sure you've got some fine words for that energy.
Oh, yeah, I do. Well, the Kundalini snake is one of the most disgusting, despicable, foul things that you could ever not want to take place in your body. And this idea that a Kundalini experience is going to explode you into sexual bliss and nirvana, and it's crazy because it doesn't. Everybody that I know that's had a Kundalini experience said it felt like a near-death experience, and it made them crazy and unstable after.
Well, I would say probably that was from the people who are moving beyond it, but there's people who are embracing it and are having these incredibly blissful experiences and are having these incredibly cosmic experiences, and they're loving it. Really?
And they're loving it. Okay.
They are.
But it's not real. It's it's fake. It's phony.
Yeah.
One thing that the Kundalini snake does is it not only can go up the spine, it can come down. It can take traumas from your memory banks and bring it back down. And when you're having intimate relationships with somebody, it can bring it down and offload it to them. So now you've got all of your pain and suffering and terrors going into your partner, and now they get them. Oh, how nice is that? What a nice gift.
Yeah,
and this is called Kundalini dumping, and it happens all the time.
Wow.
People get their partner's terrors, and all of a sudden they don't know why they're feeling really, really scared and crazy and paranoid about certain things. And this happened to somebody that had just come back from one of the wars, and they had all of these horrible things that they had not dealt with, and they came back and made love to their wife, and then she started going berserk. And it was because of this Kundalini energy dumping the trauma back into his wife. And so, and there's many, many things that it can do, but the Kundalini snake is a fraud, is a, what are all the words we could call it? It's bad news. You don't want it. Get rid of the snake, because it's all counterfeit. It's counterfeit, and it's baloney, and it's creepy. I mean, who wants a creepy snake slithering up their back, huh? And you know what? Also, it goes up your back. It doesn't come up your front because it doesn't want to get past your core, right? It doesn't want to hang out with your core star. So it sneaks up the back. You know, everything's always behind you and in the back. Can't face you. No, it goes up your back. So, yeah, I don't really like the Kundalini, and I got rid of my snake a long time ago.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Goa'uld in Stargate. I just loved how they exemplified that.
The Golden Stargate?
No, they call it the Goa'uld is the name for these serpent entities, and they saw themselves as gods. And
Oh,
they
yes, yes,
and they're
yes.
these little serpent entities. They are a few inches long. These little snake entities, and they would insert themselves into people, and then they would give that person these godly powers, and they saw themselves as gods. And there were these little serpent beings that used to infest the humans. It was just absolutely fascinating.
Wow. It's amazing how a lot of these movies have so much truth to them, but
Don't they?
of course they're just presented as science fiction, so anybody that would believe that anything like that could actually happen, it'd have to be crazy, right?
Exactly. Exactly. like the Ori as well in Stargate. There's so much truth in that show. Yeah, the Ori don't exist, by the way. Not exactly in name, but the concept of the Ori. Yeah, don't believe it because they don't exist. It's just science fiction. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Don't
Yeah,
even worry
really.
about looking at it. Nah, you're not going to learn anything at all. Don't worry about it.
There's
Just
nothing to see here.
nothing to see. Nah, nah. And I'm not using reverse psychology at all. Nah, nah, not at all.
That's really good, George.
Hey, I've got to be honest about it in the reverse manner.
That is very good.
Oh, crikey. Oh,
Okay.
I highly recommend it. Anyone who get their hands on those series of Stargate, just watch them. They're brilliant. There's so much truth in them, you know. I was saying to my friend because, when I was on my dark days of abductions and disability pension, and I was just gone. I just didn't have the energy or the finances to do anything. I could only watch TV, but I couldn't watch anything else. There's no chance I would have got cable or even go to the movies or anything. And so when I was telling my mate about all my experiences, he said, "Man, you have so got to watch this series." I said, "What series?" He goes, "Stargate." And he was quite fanatical about it. He goes, "Because everything you're telling me is in this series." I'm going, "No way." Underground bases, military, stargates, serpent entities, gods, and all this business and religion and oh my goodness. And then he gave me this box set and I started watching it and I'm just going, "No way. You have got to be kidding me." So, if you haven't seen Stargate, oh, sure, there's a bit of, G.I. Joe in it and a bit of violence and this, that, and the other, but it's pretty tame. It's not too bad. But the concepts in it are brilliant. There's another one, big recommendation, the Stargate series. They're just fantastic.
No, I agree. I've seen a few of them, and I saw the original one, and they are right on. Everything that I have experienced and the people that I've talked to that have been experiencers, that's like it's like exactly how it is. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a really good way of expressing to all of us what you've been through. If we've seen these movies, then we know
I've been through it,
kind
all
of,
right. I've been
yeah.
through it in this lifetime. I have been tortured and like those probes too that they use in Stargate because people will think, "Oh, you just got all your fantasies from movies," I haven't. I lived it first and then I started coming across the movies that exemplified what I have lived. And that's the crazy thing about it. And, when some of the tortures I had, and I say to people, even before Stargate came out, I was saying to people they were torturing me with this technology because they wanted to crack, because I talk about the great void in the universe. They know that we access the entire universe. So they wanted to access the upper echelons of the universe through us, through the human,
Hmm.
see? And so they would be torturing me inside of me because they wanted to crack the great void that exists inside of me between my aspects within the great arena or the universal matrix, and they wanted access to my higher self. And of course, that's impossible, but they don't know that. They just want to try and get to that aspect of me because they want to own it and control it, you see? But they can never crack the great void, just like we can't crack the great void through and no other way except through love and gratitude of self. It's the only way,
Hmm.
right? You got to take yourself through the eye of the needle. It's the only way out of the matrix. That's it. There's no other way. So, but they're trying to use other methods, and that's why, because the human form is the fractal of the universe, they wanted to try and access the entire universe through us. It's just, and the tortures that I and others have gone through as a result of that is just so horrendous. The pain, the internal pain was, there's just no words that come close. But I'll tell you what will be available is that anybody down the track, when we merge and start really becoming one with one another, you're going to have the opportunity to actually feel into my life and feel into my experiences. So I'm not saying anything that's not real, because this is going to be exposed to everybody who has full awareness. And like, for example, Laura Lee, all the pain that you have experienced in this life, all the tortures and all the horrendous, horrific entity attacks and everything that you've experienced in this life, we're all going to have access to that. And we're going to understand what it was like to be you in this life. And you who's listening too, you think you're all alone and nobody really knows your pain. Right now, yeah, we don't understand your pain, but we're all going to have access to each other's lives, full open access. So everything that you felt from within you, because we become the all, right? We are going to connect to be you. We're going to understand what it's like to be you and feel everything that you felt from within your own perspective. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's like when I talked about holding hands and joining forces, and what I would, in my terminology, what I would say is happening is we are getting the intel we need with each other to move ahead and handle this the way it needs to be handled. And one of the things I was going to tell you that I that I do every time I go on an ass soul hunt with the sleazoids that are stupid enough to come and try to attack me, like the cryptos. Every time they do that, I go and collect all of their data, and I put it into O's and ones, so it's just data, no emotions, just data, and I download it into the rocks, into the Almoricite rocks. So they have all of the data from everything that I have experienced, all of the sleazoids that I've interacted with. I go in and not just them, I go find their networks, who's their boss, who's, I find out everything, pull their data out, put it in the rock, and then I send them hiking to the cosmic recycle bin. So by doing this, it's like what you were saying. I'm getting a huge network and a huge vault. I call it my data vault of information and intel that now is available to everybody who is on the level to be able to go in and make some marks in the world. And I think what's happening is we're moving up levels. In cryogenetics, it talks about evolutionary spirals. Well, we are spiraling so fast now, it's like going at warp speed. You have to read the book to understand the evolutionary spirals, and we are just we're just clipping along like nobody's business. And yeah. I'm just thrilled. I'm just so thrilled to be able to connect with you, George, and to have this show. It's really I think important to collaborate both of our the information and the data that we've gathered and spread it out to the world and give them the intel that we've collected separately and collectively, so that, if somebody's already done it, why should somebody else have to do it again? Just give them the intel and let them go with it, Yeah. It's like, why should we all have to have this, why should everybody else have to have the pain and suffering I went through? They don't need to. Here, I'll just give you the information, the intel, and the data I got from it, and here we go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Laura Lee, it's been a fantastic discussion. I feel like the energies are saying to us it's time to wind it up. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our listening audience?
One thing.
Yeah, a parting communication.
Parting note.
Yeah.
This is on the first page of cryogenetics. And it says, "For the love of humanity, the earth, the animals, the nature spirits, and the innocent, it is time to wake the heck up, stop waiting for someone else to fix things, and start taking action yourself. This book was written for you. It is in your hands, and it's up to you to start making waves. The most loving, the most loving thing we can do right now is fearlessly stand up to, take on, and take down the socio-psychopathic tyrants that are perverting, torturing, and destroying everything that is beautiful and authentic. The virus has to meet the anti-virus, us. You are holding a book of keys. What you do with these keys could change history. The keys could make you a hero and a legend.
Wow.
Are you ready? Are you ready?"
Wow.
So that's my parting thoughts. We can all be heroes and legends.
Well, we are. We all have the hero archetype. That's the one that provides the courage. That's
Absolutely.
the one that works beautifully with the warrior archetype, the guardian archetype, the protector archetype, which is the guardian archetype, and it all works in balance with the nurturer and the healer archetype, the feminine qualities. It's just a beautiful thing. And we all have this within us. And those words, Laura Lee, were just amazing. And this is the emerging theme right now from people that I'm speaking with and communicating with. This is the emerging theme. We are done being passive. We are done being sheeple. This is our reality. This is our planet, and it's time for us to take it back. And if we keep sitting back and waiting for someone else to do it, you're living in a fool's paradise. And whichever way you go about doing it is your way. But we need to get into action and start making it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was my parting words. So I just want to thank you for having me on your show again. You're one of my heroes.
Oh, Laura Lee, thank you. And right back at you, sister. Right back at you.
Okay, well, you have the rest of a wonderful evening. And everybody out there, I love the stuffings out of you, and let's get going.
That's brilliant. And thank you, Laura Lee, for accepting to come on to Super Woo Radio again. And listen, everybody, just Laura Lee, just share your websites again and the information and your new book. Please do that because it's such an important work. And I know there's techniques that will help people because not everybody's going to resonate with the way I go about doing things. We've all got our different approaches, and there's going to be people that resonate more with the way you go about doing things. You know what I mean? So that's a wonderful thing. So really, share your information because there's a lot of people that are going to get it.
Well, thank you, and that shows how evolved you are, George, with not caring how the information gets to people, just that they get it, whether it's yours or somebody else's. That speaks very highly of you, of just wanting to make sure the job gets done, and you don't care, if it's your book or somebody else's book that inspires, and I just appreciate that about you. The book that I just recently wrote is called Cryogenetics, The Simple Secrets of Human Alchemy, and that is available on my website right now. The website is firstwaveindigos.com, and my second site is Mistycah, spelled MISTYC house.com. And I have a couple of YouTube channels. One of them is RWS Productions, and that is RWS stands for really weird shit. So be looking for that. And I also have a website called RWS-Productions with a dash in it. And I need to find, in fact, I'm going to put that out here now. I need to find somebody to collaborate with to help me make some really amazing videos that are really weird shit to put on this site. And so if there's any techies out there that want to help me with some of these projects, I would be so happy to have you contact me.
Yeah, fantastic. They'll have to be an out there techie, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So that's my that's how you can contact me. And again, George, thanks a million for having me on your show again. And let's go get them. Let's have fun.
Yeah, that's it. Fantastic, Laura Lee. Thank you so much. You truly are a warrior, a goddess, and I just love that, and so grateful that you are here on the planet with us at this time and fighting the good fight. So thank you very much for having the courage to be here.
You are so welcome, and golly, I just love you, George. You're so awesome.
Well, big hugs to you too, sister. All right, everybody. It's been another fantastic episode, enlightening, awareness expanding, and most certainly empowering episode of Super Woo Radio. So be well, be strong, be authentic, be genuine, be real, and be yourself, and bring as much of you as you possibly can into this world, because that's medicine. Medicine for you, medicine for all of us, medicine for Mother Earth. So that's all you need to be. So from my heart to yours, and I know Laura Lee's heart to yours, we sign off now. Thank you, and shine your brilliant and magnificent light in this world. See you next time.